If you have an outdated kitchen but not the budget to completely renovate, then you'll want to check this out. Hey guys, it's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel, Hail House Designs, where I share DIY tips, tricks, and furniture flips. Today I'm finally sharing my kitchen makeover that took a really long time in many stages, but it's finally complete, and I wanted to share how I did it on a budget and also some things that I would do differently next time, so stay tuned for that. So here are the listing photos from our home that we purchased a couple years ago, built in 2001. So you can see it still has that 90s style oak cabinets. Unfortunately, not the greatest quality cabinets. Original dishwasher, and they fooled me with the stick-on subway tile, but only on one side of the kitchen. So when we saw it in person, I realized, okay, that is not a real backsplash. Of course, I would love to get all new quality cabinets that are taller with drawers and things like that, but we know this is not our forever home, so I just had to figure out how to update it. I was originally thinking that we would have to hire someone to paint these cabinets, but then I discovered Heirloom Traditions all-in-one paint with no sanding required, no stripping, anything like that. So I went ahead and got a free sample and tried it in our bathroom, which you can see in another one of my videos, and just decided to go for it because even if it turned out horrible, I wouldn't be spending very much money on the paint just to go ahead and try it myself. Deciding on colors was a whole other issue. Very indecisive because I like a lot of colors and you just never know how it's going to look when it's complete. But I had painted the pantry door in this greenish blue color that I used in our previous house, and also in this house in the guest room. So I decided to go ahead and go with that for the cabinets, try to match it as close as I could. I started with the color London and tried it here on these little drawers to see how I liked it, and it just was showing up more blue in our house, and so I decided I was going to have to mix some colors to get the shade that I wanted. I tried a bunch of different ratios of mixing London with Envy, and I finally ended up with a 50-50 mix. One thing I knew I wanted to do was to dress up the end of the cabinets. It's not even really wood, it's like a big wood sticker, and you can see here how faded it was after 20 plus years, but rather than just painting it, I wanted to make it look a little more custom, so I got some trim and cut those pieces to trim it out, attached with a little bit of wood glue and some brad nails. And that leads me to mistake number one. I went ahead and did this bottom cabinet with the poplar, got it all done and painted, and then when I went to do the top cabinets, these strips of poplar were just too wide and it was covering too much of that top cabinet. Since the top cabinets are more shallow, there's not as much space, so when I tried to put that wood up, it was just covering too much of the cabinet and it just looked silly, and I should have definitely planned that out better. I don't have a table saw to rip pieces of wood in half, and I didn't want to try to freehand that with a circular saw and try to get it straight, so I just had to find some other type of wood to use for the top cabinets, which was a challenge because a lot of the ones I tried out were too thick and they were sticking out past the edge of the cabinet. So I did finally find these thin pine strips, but They have a lot more grain to them than the poplar, and so hopefully no one will ever notice the difference besides me, but just a word of advice to plan out all of it before you actually go through with attaching it and painting it. I used some quick wood, which is an epoxy putty that you cut off a piece and then you mix together the two parts until it gets to be one solid color, and then you can shape it and mold it however you need to. So I used that to fill in some gaps that I had. It dries pretty quickly, so 15-20 minutes or so. Then you can go ahead and sand it and get it ready to paint. So with this all-in-one paint, all you have to do is use the deglosser, which comes in a liquid or now in these wipes, and you just want to clean your surface, and it also etches it a little bit so that the paint will stick. You don't have to rinse it, just wait a few minutes till it dries and then you're ready to paint. First coat dries pretty quickly, so you can just let it dry, take an hour or so till it's dry to the touch, and then you can go right ahead and do your next coat if you want. I went ahead and moved on to the doors, and I decided to remove them to paint them. A lot of people do leave them on, but I just find it's easier to get in all the nooks and crannies if I take them off. Not having the knobs down in the bottom corner just really drives me crazy for some reason, so just went ahead and filled in the old holes with some wood filler and drilled new holes. When we first moved in, before we got around to making over the kitchen, I did go ahead and remove that fake stick-on subway tile that they had. It was turning yellow, and it was just probably the cheapest you could find. It was like the puffy stickers if you had those when you were a kid, and they came off pretty easily. And then I just used this peel and stick wallpaper that had a tiled design on it just for the meantime because I couldn't stand it. The vent hood over the stove was still in really good condition, so I just used Heirloom Traditions paint in the color Iron Ore to paint that. I was originally thinking of going with the butcher block countertops. I just love that look, and especially with the style that I'm going for and the color that I chose for the cabinets. It is very cost effective as far as countertops go, but we decided to go ahead and price out some quartz and granite at a place nearby that has slabs that are heavily discounted. And luckily, because our countertops our counter space is so limited, we were able to get all the pieces we needed out of just one slab. So it was about $1,800 installed for these quartz countertops. course, if you don't want to spend that, or you can't spend that, you can absolutely paint laminate countertops. And surprisingly, when done right, they can look really good. So Heirloom Traditions has countertop kits and lots of videos to show you how you do it. And there's lots of other brands as well that I've seen that look really good. Choosing tile was very difficult for me because I love so many different ones, but finally decided on the tiles and the pattern, and then I decided to try out this muscle bound to stick them up with rather than the traditional mortar, and it worked really well. It's extremely heavy duty, and then you just grout just like you normally would. After I finished painting everything and getting everything back together, I still was trying to figure out how can I get this microwave off of the countertops. And so one option was to purchase a cabinet that could go in the breakfast area and putting it over there, which would be okay, but kind of a hassle when you're trying to cook things on the stove and the microwave and having to carry things back and forth. So the idea came to me to turn one of the cabinets into more of an open shelf look. My husband got this attachment for his drill and drilled the hole in the bottom of the cabinet so that we could just put the cord right through there and straight into the plug. I took the shelves that were already there and used a gel stain to give them a wood look. And then I just got some 1x2s and cut those down and attach them to the front of each shelf. Unfortunately, in this small kitchen, there was no extra wall space anywhere to try to add a shelf for the microwave or anything like that. So this is working out great, and I still have the doors. So whoever purchases this house, if they don't want the open shelves here, all they have to do is take off that 1x2 and put the doors back on. I went ahead and reattached the doors after the first 2 coats, and then just did the final coat and touch-ups after they were already rehung. Now here's the tip: if you have older cabinets and you're not replacing all of the hardware and everything, you may want to go ahead and number the doors and drawers just so you know exactly where they go back, so that you won't have any trouble getting them realigned and everything when you go to put them back. And my kitchen is so small that it's very obvious which doors go where, so I didn't have to mess with that, but just a tip if you do. So here's a reminder of what it looked like when we purchased it and what it looks like now. So I'm very happy with the way it turned out, and especially for what we spent on it, which was approximately about $2,800, not including appliances. I did not include that in there just because I know a lot of people are not going to be replacing all appliances at once if you're on a tight budget, but I know if I had hired out the cabinet painting and the tile work, it would have cost us at least double that. And to do an entire kitchen renovation, cabinets and everything, probably $20,000 at a minimum. So you can really save yourself a ton of money if you just take the time to do some things yourself. So let me know in the comments if you are thinking about updating your kitchen, and if you have any questions or things that you would have done differently. I would love to hear it. So leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks.